Okay, yeah, I got carried away and cut off. So we are back on visual elements. So you need to be making sure that you've addressed 3 to 4 visual elements, um, and make sure that you're using that language of comparison. So I would suggest certainly lighting and color, body language of the Corona ad, camera angles and shots, uh, use of slogan. Is there any jargon? I think you could probably say that reserve is technical jargon because it is, and the positive language or the emotive language, which you talk a little bit about in your language features. What you could do, because you could actually combine these 2 titles, because then you can talk about how the visual elements and the language features combine to reinforce or evoke the certain mood or the emotional connection that each one evokes within their target audience. So yes, they both use pathos to create an emotion. I would say to create an emotional connection. But again, make sure that you have referred to the printout of the PowerPoint slide. What desire are they aiming to appeal to? I think the Corona is, yes, happiness and attitude. You're going to be cool and happy. Perhaps also popularity, because it's showing a group of people. It's not showing some sad person sitting on their own drinking. So, and that's for a reason. This idea that you're going to be popular and cool and happy if you drink Corona. Obviously, Jet, that is not true. Do not drink. But that's what these people are trying to get you to think. The language is simple and figurative. Well, it's simple, but you haven't addressed the fact that it's using direct address from where you'd rather be. This is a classic persuasive technique, which is called direct address. What's the effect of that? It it creates a connection with the target audience. It's a chatty, it's a chatty way of using language, which again reinforces the mood that it's creating. This is a very informal, relaxed, chilling beer, but you're not going to use the word chilling. I'm just giving you the idea of the mood. The key here, I think, is relaxation and perhaps a little bit of escapism. You say to get away from the usual. Yeah, it's escapism. Because they're going to be drinking. The reality is they're drinking Corona at the bar around the corner from their work, but what they're imagining is that they'll recreate that feeling of being on holiday, of escaping, of that a little bit more of an adventure. So that's the kind of mood that it's creating through that language. So direct address, simple language, and it's very limited. They don't use a lot of language because the focus is all on that mood of the beach at sunset. Now, when you don't keep telling me what is shown in the advertisement, because I have eyes and I can see it. You need to be analyzing what is in, why the reasons why the advertisers have put every little last thing in that advertisement. So the language persuades the reader. The language makes an emotional, the direct address makes an emotional, makes a direct address to the target audience or the consumer, not the reader, to create an emotional connection. This idea of, as we said, a great attitude. You'll have a relaxed attitude. You'll be happier, and you'll have lots of friends. And in contrast, but what you say that the Ambassador Reserve, but you're analysing the actual branding, because the interesting thing about this advertisement is there's no language. There's no slogan. there's no language, unless part of it has been cut out, Jet, I'm not sure, but there's no language in this advertisement. There's just the name of the product. There's no slogan. So that, again, is a choice in itself. Oh, excuse me. Right, so where was I? Yes, so the interesting thing about this is there are no words. So you be careful, because what you're analyzing is the branding. Now, the fact that they are in the foreground and it makes it's prominent, is what you need to be discussing in your visual elements. And actually, what I've just realized as well is that the color, the lighting here and here actually are echoing the color, the gold color of the logo. So that's something that you could be talking about in your visual elements. Again, we did talk about the fact that it's been poured into a glass and what the connotations of that are. That's a wine glass. It's not a beer bottle. So, Jet, you need to go back and do more work on the language and visual elements. And as I said, I think you can probably put the two headers together and analyze them together, because that might make your life a little bit easier. So here, just where you're saying the language of Ambassador Reserve conveys power and elite status, again, just be careful, it's not language. I think you're right in that the mood is one of sophistication and luxury, possibly powerful. I'm not sure if it's powerful. I think it's status. And remember, it's also aspirational, because 99% of the population don't live in penthouse suites in Manhattan, but they would all quite like to. So remember, this is the power of aspiration. But I think it is a more sophisticated target audience. So you do need to make sure that you analyze that there's been a clear decision not to have language. And why is that? It's the focus is all on the mood and the sophisticated, the image that it creates. And perhaps the implication is words aren't needed. Would a slogan contradict that sophistication? French champagne houses don't use slogans because they are supposed to be the epitome of sophistication. Right. So more specific analysis. Again, conclusion. So you just need to keep it short and sweet, Jet, but I need a little bit more evaluation. You need to decide, you need to say which is the most effective at fulfilling its purpose, which is to make that connection with its target audience. I think you're right. In your view, the Corona advertisement is more effective. But I think, again, please don't say, in my view, now that we're all grown up and in year 12. But what you can say is that you are the target audience of the Corona advertisement, and therefore you find the advertisement very, is it successful? Now then you might decide, well, what are the elements of that advertisement that make it so effective in connecting with me? It might be a little bit repetitive, but just repeat one or two and show your understanding that because of your age group and your gender and your leisure habits, that this ad appeals very much to you because you are very much the target audience. That's showing your understanding of perspectives. So, Jet, you have quite a lot to do specifically in your analysis. So, happy drafting.